Hey guys, thanks for joining me. And if you like what you see, please subscribe.
Hello, peoples. Welcome to Sharp Ends. Thanks so much for joining me today. So, I'm a big fan of Lishen. I have his little Canuck, and I've talked to him extensively online, um, on Instagram and stuff like that. And so, I actually asked him. I said, I've been seeing this bush dog here and there. It's not for sale anywhere. Everywhere, it's sold out right now. And I said, could you find some? Do you know of anyone who has it or anything like that, where I can get one? And he gave me a couple of things, but he said, I do have an extra blank, an A2 blank, and I could finish it up for you. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't want to like force you or anything, but if you finish that up for me, I'd certainly buy it for you. And he was between a couple of projects and had the time, so he was kind enough to do that for me, and I really, really, really appreciate it. So we're gonna take a look at the Bush Dog, which is a big knife, I believe. I kind of first heard about it through Last Huntsman Outdoors, and saw some of his reviewing of it, and he really liked it, and it just seemed right up my alley. Definitely more into fixed blades lately than I am into the cheaper folders made in China. Yeah, he was very kind to do that for me. And he makes his own sheaths. I believe he makes his own sheaths in house. And if he doesn't, it's like his friend down the road that does it. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, he is also a Patreon supporter of this channel, which I am very, very grateful for. I'm not going to allow that to influence me in any way, what I think about this knife. But I just wanted to be forthright about that. So he will probably comment on this and answer a couple of the questions that I have. We talk. All right, I don't want to get the cart before the horse. All right, so first, this sheath looks spectacular, and it is also handmade, so that is great, right? And then there's his symbol, American flag embossed. Is that the right word for leather? Embossed. And I asked for a dangler and not a hip one. I think for bigger knives, I kind of like the dangler uh, rather than the other ones. All right, so let's take a look at it. But first, hey, smash that like button, like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really, really helps the channel. And as always, thank you to my Patreon supporters. So every knife I've gotten from him, and I've only gotten a few at this point, have been wrapped up in these do-rags. And I actually really appreciate that. I actually end up using them. My dog has been wearing one recently. I've used one on occasion. So I do appreciate that. Ooh, baby. Oh, yeah. So I asked for the natural micarta, and he had some of this left over, and I really like that. And I asked for the brass pins instead of the aluminum because I really like brass. Let's take a look at this. Oh yeah, look at that baby. Nice and greased up for transport. Let's clean that off. We'll take a look at this. So this is a big boy. This is definitely a big boy, and it's definitely made for being a out in the bush type knife. High saber grind, A2 tool steel. I never asked him what he ended up doing the HRC for his tool steel. Something like the Genesis made by LT Wright is done 57 to 59, which for a tool steel seems really low, but it works really well. Like I've had the Genesis, I don't think I've ever sharpened it, and it's got no patina on it at all, even though it's been out by the water and been my fire knife. Oh, you know what? It's still packed away. I just got back last night from a vacation. It's still packed away. Otherwise, I'd show you that tool steel and how well it's weathered over the last 2 years. But I'm a big fan of A2. All right, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Second time I've said that. This is 3/16 inch stock, I believe, A2 tool steel. I'm not sure of the HRC. Let's see if he has it listed. I assume that this is a thing. He doesn't list that here. Natural canvas micarta, brass pins, A2 bush dog. Yeah, so cool. Small American knife maker. If you've ever seen a picture or a video of his shop, it's literally looks like a garage or a small, workroom underneath the house. And yeah, very sharp. and the finish on this, the fit and finish looks absolutely excellent. Now, what he did tell me is that he accidentally glued on the handles just a skosh too short. I think he said a 16th or an eighth, a 16th, something very small. But this part right here, what I'll call the bolster area or the forward part of the scales, is supposed to be just a skosh longer. And he said if I found a problem with that, just let him know. I will note though that right here on this point right here, he's really nicely ground it down and taken off the edge, because you're gonna, if you want to choke up, right? Now this doesn't have jimping on top, which is fine. I think for larger bushcraft knives, you actually don't need it, and the jimping's kind of gimmicky. I don't need that forward point, and in general, I'll probably be holding it back here. The shaving though, coming up here to shave, that feels nice. The this spine is sharp. It's what I would call, it's not quite LT right sharp, but it's darn close. But it's not rounded like what you would get with Bark River knives, where it, this is going to throw a really good spark. And I will test it and let you guys know. I'm going to assume though the LT right is just a little bit sharper of or more of a spark throwing knife, and that's only because they almost keep a burr on there. I mean, they almost sharpen it, and this feels sharp, but it doesn't feel quite as sharp. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I don't have my I have a GNS here. Yeah, and this GNS from LT Wright, yeah, it just feels a little bit sharper here, and this feels like he's just taking a little bit of the burr off. And I'm just looking at, I'm turning it under the light and trying to see a little bit more that edge. But yeah, not quite as sharp, as if he went over with it with a buffer just once. Really thick behind the tip here, flat until it tapers down here, and that point where it tapers down to that tip, it makes it nice and strong. High saber grind, feels very sharp. I'm sorry, I'm going to take your letter of authenticity and use it to test the sharpness. Of course, this isn't the best way to, but yeah, basically no tearing at all. I love A2 tool steel. A lot of people are going to be they're going to turn up their nose at that and say, why isn't it Magna Cut? Let me tell you a couple of things about Magna Cut and steel consistency and how it's heat treated. As far as I am concerned, this is my opinion, and there will be 5 people down below who disagree with me. I feel that Magna Cut is a very, and this is something that Lishen Christian pointed out to me too. It is such a fine composition of steels, and has to be mixed in a very consistent way, and it has to be heat treated in a very consistent way, that if you don't hit that sweet spot, and that sweet spot, that target of the sweet spot is so narrow, that then you're going to get some things going off with it. There were some inconsistencies sometimes in voids. I know that was a problem, not a problem, but it was a reported problem from Lishen, from some other small knife makers. I know that I have had Magna Cut that patinas very easily. The knife, Laren Thomas says that he thinks that that at higher rates of HRC, it's actually more stainless. That's kind of counterintuitive to me, but that's what he says. I feel like at a lower HRC, Magna Cut should be more stainless with less edge retention. But I don't know, Magna Cut is just different. Anyway, that's all to say that A2 is a steel that's been around for a long time, and if you know how to heat treat it, and it's a fairly simple steel composition, you're going to get the sweet spot easier, and the knife is going to be more reliable to you, unless you get so I'm just saying that there are some people who are really good at heat treat and getting the composition just right. Well, they can't control the composition, some of the small American makers, but someone like TJ Schwartz is really, really good at high-end steel and heat treat. And Magna Cut from him is almost always going to be the sweet spot. I mean, I have 2 overlands from him, and I just ordered a third. The Magna Cut is miraculous. It's absolutely phenomenal. But I've in general been more disappointed with Magna Cut than I've been impressed with it. Whereas I've never been disappointed in A2 knife steel made by a small American maker like Creeley, or no, Creeley doesn't use it, but like LT Wright. and Lishen. Like I've just never been disappointed in it. It is a good steel. So don't turn up your nose just because it's A2 and it has a high price and it's made in America. A2 is a good steel. So yeah, don't worry about that. You're like, well, what about 3V? Or the same arguments go for any of these other steels that are for bushcrafting. A2 is probably, if not the best, in the top three of best bushcraft big honkin' knife steels that you can possibly get. It's very tough. It is going to be able to be batoned, and its edge retention is, as far as I am concerned, really, 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 really good for the type of things that I do. All right. So, yeah, very good. I talked a little bit about how those, but the ergos don't seem to be affected to me, although I won't know until I actually go camping with us and use it hardcore for a while. He did say that he would take it back and replace the scales. I said, don't worry about it. Let me just see it. And feels really good in the hand. The ergos are great. You can see that it has just a classic knife shape with a little bit of a Coke bottle handle, and this stubby part at the back is going to lock your pinky finger in there to make it nice and secure. You can choke up a little bit. Definitely a full four finger grip. This is a larger knife. Let's take some dimensions on it. We got 5.5 inches of sharpened edge and 10 and 5/8 inch long. It looks like he's already pre-molded this sheath just a little bit for this. But look at that. That looks just super, super classic. Really wish I had my Genesis to compare that to, but I don't. So here is a Bravo, right? Bravo. I guess the Bravo 1.5 would be more in comparison. This is definitely a larger knife, okay? This is a larger knife. That is the Bravo. You can see that this guy is definitely bigger than that, right? And then let's take a look at it. I do have this guy. This is the XL Workhorse from LT, right? This is 01. Yeah, 01 tool steel. And then let's take a look at it, compare it to the Bushmate. This is the Bushmate from DBK. So this is a big knife, right? In fact, the only knife that I have that's bigger than it that is made for this type of stuff is probably going to be the Aurora 3. In fact, I'll just go ahead and show you. This is the Genesis. This is the, I said it earlier. Now I'm blanking on the name. But this is the LT Wright knife. Let me go get the Genesis and compare it for it and let you see. So this is the Northern Hunter XL. Larger than that. That's an LT Wright knife. And then this is the Bush, this is a Bark River knives. This is the Aurora 3. The Aurora 3 is like, might be the only knife that I have that's bigger than that. And although a bushcraft knife, I primarily use it in the kitchen because it's so darn big. Do like this knife, but you can see here, this is CPM 3V, and I use it in the kitchen, but it does have some patina, and that's just from using it around foods, you know, and maybe not cleaning it immediately after I use it, but that's 3V, right? This is MagnaCut. This MagnaCut from Bark River's actually been pretty good, although I did see a couple of people complain about voids and having their blade split when they're batoning with it, but then again, you're not really supposed to be batoning with knives. You should just be using an axe or a hatchet. But occasionally, you know, I do like to take and make smaller kindling, definitely with a knife. And sometimes if I don't have a hatchet, I'll baton a bigger piece of wood, and you know, a knife should handle that, right? This MagnaCut from Bark River has so far been okay for me. Yeah, so a big boy. We talked about ergos. The price on this, I'm blanking on the price on this, on what they list it onto the different sites. Maybe if I remember, it'll flash up right here, right now, what the average price is. I'm sure it goes up and down depending on that, you know, that cut and finish and different materials used. Really nicely well-rounded back here too on the micarta. Micarta looks just absolutely great. I like natural micarta, and I like matte finish micarta. I don't like the shiny stuff. You'll notice that this is shiny, just a little bit more slippery. Not that it's going to slip out of my hand when the ergos are correct or anything like that. I just like a little bit more of the grippy feeling. He has put some Wicked Wax on this just to you know, start to protect it. This is obviously chemically sealed to the handle. Very nice rounded, a little bit of a sharpening choil. I do really appreciate a nice sharpening choil. Now, when Bark River does this, this is okay because it's just a little bit long. As soon as I get to the end there, of course, it's going to be a pain. But, you know, with this convex grind, it's going to stay sharp for pretty much forever. Whereas something like the Aurora 3, absolutely no sharpening choil. So this part of the blade right down here will never be sharp again, except for the factory edge. And same thing for this, right? So that little detail is one of those details that makes Lishen knives better than your average larger American-made shop like Bark River and LT Wright, is that he has just a little bit more customization. So the smaller shops like Creeley and Shores and Lishen, to name three, and even Wicked Wax, Trevor over there, they tend to have sharpening choils and a little bit more finer detail, because I think they just, you know, they have to be in the marketplace. They have to sell every knife that they make. They only make a few knives, and they really pay attention to those details. And it's a one-man shop, or, you know, one man and a helper kind of situation where they just need to really pay attention to those details. Very nice small little lanyard hole, just big enough to get a piece of paracord through, but no bigger than that, which I appreciate. I don't like bigger tubes. Like, you know, LT Wright, if you notice, has a much bigger tube, and so does Bark River Knife, much bigger tube, right? And I don't like that. I don't usually use lanyards anyway, except for if it's a small knife, or if I'm going to be climbing with it on a boat, or, you know, and just, you know, doing some climbing and I'm carrying a knife, then I'm going to tie it to myself. But I rather have the smaller hole for just big enough for paracord personally. Yeah, so I think this is going to be a banger. I really like it. I really like the sheath too. I think that it's, for what you're getting, it's bang. It's definitely worth it. So he has knives coming out. Mainly his suppliers are going to be, and he has several knives up there right now. DLT's got a ton of knives. He doesn't have this Bushdog, but he has a ton of knives up there. And Knife Ship Free has some as well. And I think he's reaching out to other people to get other people to carry his knives, but I'm not 100% sure about that either. That's up to him, obviously. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. I love his stuff. And he's very approachable. So if you have any questions, I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying that if you follow him on Instagram, you can DM him and he's going to respond immediately. And I know that he's really good with his customer service too, that if you have a problem, he is going to offer to bend over backwards and fix it. He's told me a couple of stories how he's worked with customers, and I truly believe that he's gone out of his way to do that. So thank you so much for making this knife for me, for finishing up this last blank. I'm super lucky to that you had one more blank in there, and I'm really proud to own this in my collection. Definitely going to run this through the mill, check it out, and this is only an unboxing and first impressions. I will definitely be doing a full review of this and comparing it to my other knives as well. And as soon as I do, you guys will be the first ones, hopefully, to see it by turning on notifications. Click that bell button down below. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps the channel. If you want to get a chance to win a knife of the month, for $3 a month, if you become a Patreon supporter, you too get entered automatically to win a knife of the month. And in fact, over the next few months, I'm gonna be giving away two things instead of one every month. I'll be giving away high-end flashlight as well as a knife. So double chance of winning if you're a Patreon supporter right now. Click that link down below. Really appreciate your time and support. And as always, have a good one. Bye-bye, friends.